Someone has their arms around my legs right now, and I'm chilled to the bone right now.
This time on Unexplained Mysteries, Extreme Hauntings.
I awakened to someone saying right in my ear, die, 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 you.
Now, feel a hand come up and place it on my shoulder.
About a foot from my bed was standing a ghost.
Specters, apparitions, lost souls, ghosts. They exist in every part of the world, in every culture. They've been reported by farmers and presidents. With our case studies, we'll hear the stories of ordinary people who have had unearthly encounters.
In the hallways, making noises, slamming doors.
The real-life ghost hunter who battled an unruly apparition.
I went down into the basement where John seemed to be emanating from, and I challenged him to scare me.
The woman who tried to calm an uneasy spirit.
And so I told her, I said, Harriet, go to the light and be with your children. And she did.
The psychic who communicates with those who have crossed over.
I was able to see the entity, and it was a very, very, very ugly being.
And in an Unexplained Mysteries exclusive, we'll investigate the ghostly writings that could be a conduit to the afterlife.
At first, the photographs. Right.
You snap one of these things, and when you start asking questions, it starts answering.
It's bigger than what anybody could ever imagine.
And we'll give you our final analysis in our Unex report as we uncover the truth about ghosts on Unexplained Mysteries, Extreme Hauntings. They reside all over the world, in every conceivable environment, from medieval castles and ancient monasteries to ornate mansions and rustic farmhouses. Ghosts are everywhere. With the advent of photography, images of these spectral apparitions began to appear. Some were crude hoaxes. Others defy rational explanation.
There's a lot of fraud in this. There's a lot of imagination. There's a lot of wishful thinking. But when you strip that all out, there's about 20% hardcore stuff that is exceedingly difficult to explain.
But what do these ghostly images prove? That an afterlife exists? Or is it something else?
When the apparition resembles somebody who used to live in the house, it seems to be evidence of survival. But there's another explanation, and that is that it's just energy recorded in the environment that gets played back by our brains, kind of acting like a needle on a phonograph.
Alfred Hitchcock was Hollywood's master of suspense. And this quaint schoolhouse, located in scenic Bodega Bay, California, became the setting for his 1963 film, The Birds.
He would always choose places that were of interest and that would have a mystique about them. I mean, you looked at it up on that hill, and it was really quite almost a bit foreboding, but it was disturbingly populated, and there was nobody there.
For years, others have felt what Tippi Hedren and the other cast members sensed. This building is haunted.
Oh, there are bumps on the wall, voices in the hallway, sounds on the stairs. Sometimes I hear a woman singing, or maybe it's a little girl, I don't know.
Built in 1873, the school sits quiet above this picturesque coastal town. On the second floor, a large open space, a congregation hall for the community.
They used to hold plays upstairs, and they'd have dances and things like that, and then it kind of dwindled down.
The school closed down. The students moved on. A playground stands empty now. But there is something strange happening here.
I was alone and was working at the typewriter. There was a slow rap on the kitchen door upstairs. And I stopped typing, and then I saw the doorknob turn.
I heard kids playing in the schoolyard, and it didn't faze me at all because I'm a teacher and I'm so familiar with that sound. And, of course, I knew that there were no children here and hadn't been for a long time.
When the town decided to sell the school, the Taylor family moved in and refurbished the historic building. From the beginning, they were aware that they were not alone.
When I was 12, I was sat on scaffolding 5 tiers high and actually painted under the eaves of the building. And from the very beginning, it was very spooky.
After we were here at night, we began to hear sounds and steps and things that were all friendly.
I did see an apparition a few years ago, a little girl, and she actually spoke to me. She said, "Hi!" And the whole room echoed with the sound of her voice.
Leah embraced the friendly spirits, and when her parents moved out, she stayed behind with her husband and her young son. Tourists continued to visit the former movie site. One visitor came face to face with a ghost, prompting a call to Christopher Chacon and his team of paranormal investigators.
When we received a phone call from a family of 3 in Washington, they had apparently been vacationing in the area. Their teenage daughter came over to take some photos of the house, and as she was taking the photos, she stated that she saw a young lady standing at the top of these stairs. She told the young girl to move, and the young girl came down the stairs and walked right toward her. And at that point, she apparently just evaporated.
Chacon runs the Office of Scientific Investigation and Research, or OSIR. They travel the world investigating unexplained phenomena. They arrived with a variety of sophisticated monitoring equipment. They swept the home for traces of supernatural activity.
We also were able to document a variety of anomalous cold spots also along the wall, which was west of the main living room.
The investigation led to the cavernous second-story room. Leah recalls a chilling encounter.
There was a child's rocker right about here and also a plastic beach ball, small plastic beach ball, and the child's rocker began to rock back and forth. And then the beach ball began to roll.
This room became the focus of the investigation. And with the cameras rolling, something strange occurs. A lamp, too high for human hands to reach, swings by itself. And the next morning, a message, written on the outside of a window that had been painted shut for years.
After people live here for a while and they leave, what it creates is an impression in the environment. And it's sort of like a loop, a videotape loop, playing back over and over again.
I think it's a residual energy of some kind. How that energy is maintained, I am a physicist, but that physics doesn't have any explanation for that.
Leah and her family are convinced that they share a house with otherworldly entities, but they aren't afraid. They believe these spirits have returned to haunt the place where they were happiest. What happens when humans and spirits cross paths? Next up, we'll show you some shocking encounters.
On a 1 to 10 scale, it's a 10. The activity is monumental.
A ghostly confrontation goes horribly wrong.
I called him a coward and told him the only people he could scare were women and children.
She grabs her chest like this, and she can't breathe.
A psychic uncovers a mystery.
There's a lot of death around here.
Spirits who communicate through pictures.
I was a little curious, and I said, well, can you take a picture?
And we'd ask him if he was a good ghost or a bad ghost. He answered friend.
Physically, I don't know how they could do that.
And we'll give you our ultimate update with the Unex Report. Stay tuned for more on Unexplained Mysteries. Unexplained Mysteries, Extreme Hauntings. The Black Forest of Colorado, like its name, is a foreboding place. Miles from the nearest town, the residents are self-sufficient. But what do you do when the mountain hideaway turns into a ghost's playground?
We came home and it was like the 4th of July in our living room and in our bedroom. We had all kinds of lights flashing through. We would hear people walking, or it sounded like people walking across the roof. We would lay in bed at night and hear chains dangling. One night we woke up and we heard orchestra music. Just strange things started happening.
Among the unexplained incidents were photographs taken by Steve and Beth Lee.
I thought it was a light leak, camera messing up. So that's when I changed cameras and started taking a lot more pictures. I took a picture right over against my wall, and when we got it back, it had some fog in it with an image it looked like of a face. I'm getting the same image in the fog outside the house and in front of the house and back, no matter where I take it.
The Lees were curious, but not really afraid. All they wanted to know was what was happening in their home. The couple call a paranormal investigation team and psychic Echo Bodine to look for answers. Echo is immediately contacted by an unseen entity.
I became aware of several voices over here, and so I turned around, and there's a male spirit standing right there.
A review of the thermal spectrograph reveals a hot spot on the roof, the exact spot Echo is pointing to.
He's responsible for the things that have happened, and he will continue to be responsible for the things that will continue to happen. He considers this to be his place, basically.
Echo is drawn to an upstairs bedroom, the heart of the haunting.
What I'm feeling is this room is absolutely full of spirits. This room attracts spirits from the past. This is not a restful place. This is not a restful room to sleep in.
Just then, Steve's radio scanner picks up a strange signal.
Initially, we heard that exact same noise, but now we're hearing something else, and it started out really slow. It sounded like sort of like footsteps, and now it's gotten a little faster, and this is how it sounds.
Is this the sound of a spirit trying to communicate?
All of a sudden, I felt like something was just holding me, and it was cold, and I wasn't sitting, I wasn't standing, and I couldn't breathe, and I was lightheaded, and I feel just like that right now.
Beth is hit with a sickening feeling, and Echo confirms the presence.
Growing again. It's getting bigger again. Unbelievable.
I have got to move for just a second.
It's really strong.
I've just got to get away from here.
Within moments, a member of the camera crew is overcome by an unseen force.
What's wrong, Sherry?
So that it'll release her.
I can't explain my arms. My arms feel...
It's going inside of her, is what Echo said.
It's in my chest, my chest, my arms, my legs.
Echo told her to keep saying, clear me now. Keep talking. Come on.
I'm clear.
Let's get the bed again going.
Okay. All right.
It's okay, Sherry, don't panic. It's just what they want you to do. Stay calm. Stay calm.
I want to go away.
It's okay. It's okay. Keep talking.
That night, Echo confirmed the existence of at least 20 entities.
On a 1 to 10 scale, it's a 10. The activity is monumental.
Until then, the entities had done nothing more than frighten the family. That changed 2 weeks later.
My head just started swelling up. That's when they took me to the hospital. and they did the CAT scans. And the doctor said there was no bruise there, no cut or nothing.
By fall, the Lee family was desperate for answers. Beth was afraid the children might be their next target.
When I was watching TV, TV kept going on and off, and
They contacted psychic Peter James. Almost at once, he feels that something is very wrong.
There's a lot of death around here. There's a lot of activity here.
Once inside the Lee home, James attempts to contact the entities.
Who's here? Identify yourself.
But this was unlike anything he has ever experienced.
But it feels like someone has their arms around my legs right now. And I'm chilled to the bone right now.
Peter is also drawn to the upstairs bedroom.
There's a chemical smell. I smell something old, like...
You get goosebumps?
I get chills.
After his initial examination of the site, Peter sits down with Beth and Steve.
House get the name of Howard.
The Howard one, there's no, I mean, that's so personal between us, it's unreal. There's no possible way on God's earth you could have done that one.
Do you ever feel that Howard is trying to protect you?
Yes, very much so.
Because that's
that
what
just
I feel.
freaked you out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's why I said don't
Let's take
say
a break.
anything.
Let's take a break. Yes, no.
Peter continues to receive impressions.
Was there anyone around here that was a pharmacist?
Howard was very involved in that kind of stuff.
And who is Howard?
I have a little adopted granddaddy here in town that I have guardianship of that we've taken care of for like 10 years now or more. And his name is Howard. And he had a son that we did not know, but that he died in the 60s of a drug overdose, and his best friend's dad was a doctor and into pharmacist work, and they would steal prescriptions.
The son's name? Howard Jr. With this information, James heads back to the bedroom to meet Howard.
There's that chemical smell again. And you know what? I believe that Howard is with me right now. He's very protective of them. And, Howard is here.
In the center of the bedroom, James discovers what he believes is a vortex, a gateway the spirits use to enter our world. This is the exact spot where the thermal camera detected a hot spot on the ceiling. Could this be a portal to another dimension? James senses that Howard Jr. guards this vortex, protecting the Lees from the hostile spirits. But James senses the real secret. Howard was murdered.
And this is what I really feel why he's here and why he's trying to convey this message to me now.
Peter's accuracy stuns the young couple.
I mean, there's things that there's no way he could have known. I mean, there's just no way on God's earth he could have known. I guess I have to believe now.
Coming up, a modern-day exorcism.
And I loved her enough that I felt like Harriet deserved to go to the light.
The frightening result.
I knew instantly that Harriet had been here to protect this house from another spirit, which was not a good spirit.
We'll hear from the psychic who came face to face with the malignant apparition.
I was able to see the entity, and it was a very, very, very ugly being.
The expert who challenged the unruly phantom.
I called him a coward and told him the only people he could scare were women and children.
The woman who was touched by a ghost.
I could just feel the electricity running through my body.
We'll show you a perplexing case study. Messages from beyond.
At first, the photographs frightened.
And we'll unlock the mystery in our Unex report. Coming up on Unexplained Mysteries. Unexplained Mysteries, Extreme Hauntings. In Leroy, Illinois, There is a house built in 1862. It has been a home to many families. But when the Johnson family moved into the old mansion, they had the strange feeling that someone was still there.
I would be coming downstairs in the middle of the night, and I saw a silhouette sitting in the den. And I see the long, straggly hair. I could tell she was an old woman. I couldn't tell any distinct features. It was just shock to see someone sitting in your den in the middle of the night.
While investigating the history of the house, a former owner revealed a startling story.
There was a family that lived in the house. They had 4 boys, and the youngest boy had to sleep with a pup tent over his bed because he said that the old lady kept bothering him at night.
Kathy Johnson made a trip to the local Hall of Records, where she discovered that her house had been built by Robert and Harriet Dickerson. In 1913, Harriet died at the age of 85. But could Harriet's ghost still be here?
We came to find out through investigating that Harriet had 11 children. And we believe that Harriet was a motherly type person and that she was always watching out for the children.
Convinced that somehow the spirit of Harriet was trapped in the house, Kathy calls paranormal investigator Rob Conover for help.
We all loved Harriet, and I loved her enough that I felt like Harriet deserved to go to the light.
On his initial visit, Conover sets up a video camera in an upstairs bedroom in an attempt to capture the image of Harriet on tape. Without a single person in the house, the camera inexplicably zooms in and out 3 times, while picking up sounds resembling ghostly breathing.
I believe it was a paranormal experience with the camera, and I believe that it was Harriet's ghost that did it.
Conover returns to help release the trapped soul.
I called Harriet to see if she would come into the room, and she did come into the room and manifested herself.
I just felt so strongly about Harriet being able to be with her 11 children. And so I told her, I said, Harriet, go to the light and be with your children. And she did. After that incident happened and Harriet went to the light, we've never seen or heard from her since.
Harriet was gone, but Kathy's illusion of normalcy was shattered one morning.
I was sound asleep, and I awakened to someone saying right in my ear, die, 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 you bitch.
I knew instantly that Harriet had been here to protect this house from another spirit, which was not a good spirit.
Kathy consulted 2 psychics. They both told exactly the same story.
They came up with the name John Grady. And through the psychics, they learned that he had been a boarder in the house, and that he was an alcoholic, a woman beater, and had been killed while trying to strangle a woman.
Conover was confident he could take on this new entity. He set up for a second cleansing.
And you're going to leave this house before I do.
I went down into the basement where John seemed to be emanating from, and I challenged him to scare me or to show me something. And I called him a coward and told him the only people he could scare were women and children.
But John Grady was more powerful than Conover had ever imagined. And renowned psychic Jorianne Defray was called in to help.
When I walked into this house, I had the sense that this house was haunted. You could tell that there was energy here, but it wasn't clear at that time what kind of energy.
Jorianne walks through the house, channeling its psychic energy.
I'm feeling a heaviness. It's heavier, it's denser, it's thicker. The air, really bad. It's really bad. People were getting beaten. There was a lot of little, I could see some little girls going back and forth, but somebody was beating somebody up badly. I mean, they should have been laden with blood right here.
DeFrey receives a mental image of the man named John Grady.
I was able to visualize the presence. I was able to see the entity. And it was a very, very, very ugly being.
Jorianne sweeps the home, driving Grady into the open.
Forward now from my presence.
When I sensed him, the same animosity was there, the same negativity, the same challenge. Come on, you guys think you're so smart. You know, try to get me. As soon as my head dropped, I just kind of knew that I was going to be kind of used so Rob could hear this entity speak and what the entity was saying.
With Jorianne containing Grady, Rob Conover battled the entity.
There was a physical confrontation in my mind between me and an entity. It's time for you to go. You're not wanted here anymore. I saw myself physically fighting with this thing, and to the point where I did subdue him and push him into this abyss that I was seeing in my mind.
This is a hole that has to be like that which goes on forever. Going down, 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 down.
But have they really exorcised the malicious spirit? Or is he just hiding, waiting for a chance to return?
Sometimes the spirits can come back, and you'll have to keep redoing the process. But it looked like, as of today, while we were doing this process, that it was a successful process.
All we can do is wait and see. We'll just keep our ears open and our eyes and see if he's gone.
Next, mysterious photographs imprinted with unnerving messages. We'll explore the possibilities in our incredible case study. Messages from beyond.
You snap one of these things, and when you start asking questions, it starts answering.
What message do these remarkable photographs contain?
The exact translation is the guardian spirit of a man or place.
Is this just an elaborate hoax? We'll talk to the experts.
Physically, I don't know how they could do that.
It appears to me, under high magnification, that is some kind of fiber.
And you'll get the climactic account with our Unex report. Coming up on Unexplained Mysteries. Unexplained Mysteries, Extreme Hauntings. For years, scholars and clerics have debated the existence of an afterlife. Could these photographs be the proof they're looking for?
At first, the photographs frightened me.
You snap one of these things, and when you start asking questions, it starts answering. I don't know how to explain how bizarre that feels.
Never, ever have I come across anything like this at all before.
In this hillside home in Southern California, John Matkowski and John Huckert are not alone.
I'll be standing there reading something at the desk or something, and I'll feel a hand come up and place it on my shoulder. And of course, I turn around to see who it is, and there's nobody there. And then I get sort of a jolt of adrenaline or whatever. It makes me kind of nervous.
It's sort of like a sunburn on my arms. It's the only way I can explain it. And that's how I usually know if there's some kind of presence here or something.
Soon, the entity appears in a series of alarming photographs.
I took the picture of the bathroom door over by the bathroom and got this really strange-looking thing that was either scary or comical.
As if testing the power they had over the pictures, the spirits began writing on the film.
We asked him what his name was, just assuming that it's a presence. And we asked him his name, and he answered on the Polaroid. He told us his name was Wright. And we were like, we still didn't believe it. So we'd ask him if he was a good ghost or bad ghost, and he answered friend.
The two men continued asking questions, and the spirits answered. Over 100 shots were taken, some scrawled with words that didn't make sense, until Matkowski discovered it was Latin.
We have asked him if he died in his house, and his answer was, in Latin, he answered that, among other things, he did die in his house.
Hoping to unravel this mystery, they called famed parapsychologist Carrie Gaynor.
In my line of work, we spend a great deal of time waiting and watching and wondering and hoping. We don't experience phenomena very often. But when something happens, it's so exciting, it's so exhilarating. It's a moment of connectedness with something that's just mysterious, exciting, unknown.
Gaynor conducts an experiment. 4 new cameras are brought in. Fresh film from Polaroid is examined, logged, then loaded into the cameras. With a video crew documenting the event, the first questions are asked.
Are most spirits good spirits or bad spirits?
Would the spirits reveal themselves under these controlled conditions?
There are numerous remedial lemures.
In Roman mythology, the night-walking spirits of the dead.
Hello.
The film was examined before and after to make sure that no tricks were used to create the shots.
These were shots that were taken today. A few minutes ago they were shot and came out of the Polaroid. I actually watched them eject out of the Polaroid, and now I'm in the process of evaluating, trying to decide if they're actually authentic or if they've been manipulated.
Time and time again, the spirits channel their energy into the pictures, answering questions, posing even more.
If they can write on Polaroid film while it's inside a camera, what else can they do? I mean, what next? It reaches to the outer limits of our imagination.
Confident that there was no natural explanation for the photographs, Huckert and Mitkowski contact Peter James to find out who or what they are living with. James channels the spirits.
I feel that this area here is, within the bedroom, is a hot spot. Or perhaps this is where the individual died, in this particular area, because this is where I feel it strongest.
Having contacted the spirits, he moves to the living room where he senses a psychic vortex.
Feels like something could literally come from below and come through the floor. And it feels like something is beginning to surface.
A picture is taken, revealing the spirits whirling around James.
My experience here today clearly is telling me to convey to you that your probing here should be ongoing.
Next on Unexplained Mysteries, new developments in the ghostwriting case.
I guess I was a little curious and I said, well, can you take a picture?
A psychic makes a disturbing revelation.
Peter James told us about a dead body that he claims is buried under the house.
The message that changed a young man's life.
All of a sudden, on the side of my face is the word try.
And we'll reveal more secrets about this remarkable haunting.
Whatever is on the Polaroids, it is their way of saying, pay attention, this is how we're communicating with you.
I didn't believe in ghosts for the longest time, and my experiences have taught me differently.
It's bigger than what anybody could ever imagine.
And finally, we'll dissect the evidence in our Unex report on Unexplained Mysteries. Unexplained Mysteries, Extreme Hauntings. When Peter James first arrived at the house of John Huckert and John Mitkowski, he was skeptical that an entity was using Polaroid film to communicate.
In all of my years of delving into the paranormal world, I have never seen an entity present itself in that fashion. But I will say that all things are possible, and perhaps this is something new that I have never encountered.
After visiting the house and seeing the pictures for himself, James is convinced.
Whatever is on the Polaroids, it is their way of saying, pay attention, this is how we're communicating with you.
Peter left the house with several clues to the source of the haunting.
Well, one of the times Peter James was here, he suggested that we dig in the yard. I'll show you where. It was over here.
He said that if we dug right here, we would find something significant.
What they unearthed was a long crypt-like object.
We don't know what it was for, but he was right. If we dug here, we'd get something.
Another one of Peter's predictions may explain the vortex he felt in the living room.
And I got that tingling sensation right now. And it's also very cold here. It's almost like one would stand on a foot massager and feel the energy coming in from your feet, through your feet, from the floor, and it's going through my entire body.
Peter James told us about a dead body that he claims is buried under the house. And in here is where the body supposedly is buried, right over here. Near the TV set is where there's supposedly a dead body buried under the floor. We've had a number of psychics come in, and they've brought in magnetometers and different kinds of instruments. And whenever you take it over that spot, it goes off the scale.
And then the photograph stopped. The entity known as Wright remained quiet for almost 2 years, until one day, a friend came over.
I guess I was a little curious, and I said, well, can you take a picture? And John says, well, we've taken pictures before, and it hasn't been around, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2 years. And I said, oh, well, let's just take a picture of me and see what happens.
We took a picture, and next thing you know, they started talking again.
And all of a sudden, I see all these, as the picture develops, there's all these white lines all over my face. And we're looking at it, I'm all like, wow, this is pretty cool. All of a sudden, on the side of my face is the word try.
But this time, the messages were more detailed and more personal.
Some people have very unique experiences here, very personal experiences, and it has changed many people's lives. They've actually restructured the way they've approached their lives after experiencing what's going on in this house.
But no one's life has been touched more than Noel's.
And I did ask him if, you know, what he was. I mean, what are you? I mean, are you a guardian angel? You know, and he came back with the words, God's light.
And he talks about Noel a lot. Noel was very important to him.
It says more to me because I guess I'm the youngest of the three, and I probably had the most growing up, so it had a lot to do with just life in general, and it just would guide me in kind of like a spiritual way.
And it's supportive and friendly and occasionally a little surprising and maybe a little frightening, but nothing I want to leave.
There have been many theories about why this is happening, but John and Noel have stopped looking for answers.
We've heard everything from ley lines to vortexes to energy streams that enable him to be able to do it at this particular location, whereas he possibly can do it in other places, but for some reason it's happened here.
It's so hard to explain. It's almost like something that you have to experience for yourself.
Next, the Onyx Report. We'll examine the evidence and answer the questions. Are all these houses really haunted? Are there ghosts walking among us? Are they trying to communicate with us? And why do only a select few experience this phenomenon? We'll bring it all together next in the Onyx Report when Unexplained Mysteries returns. And now for the Onyx Report. The modern scientific mind has always dismissed the existence of ghosts and spirits, even when faced with the evidence.
There's a lot of fraud in this. There's a lot of imagination. There's a lot of wishful thinking.
There will always be skeptics. There will always be those who refuse to believe. But there are some things that science cannot define.
I am a physicist, but physics doesn't have any explanation for that.
For those who have experienced that cold chill or seen that figure out of the corner of their eye, ghosts are a very real phenomenon.
I saw a silhouette of somebody walk in my room.
I've seen this old man standing over near the couch, and then when you look and blink, it's not there anymore.
And she actually spoke to me. She said, "Hi."
We've heard from the experts who have dedicated their lives to studying these haunted sites.
I believe it was a paranormal experience with the camera, and I believe that it was Harriet's ghost that did it.
We've analyzed the photographs.
So it's certainly possible the film can capture an image that cannot be seen by the human eye.
We've seen the ghostwriting happen before our eyes.
I've always thought of what Wright does is sort of like a lighthouse that's sweeping by, and if you get caught in that moment when the beam sweeps by you, then you catch something on film.
It's made me a better parent, that's for sure. Made me a better friend.
The potential here is really unlimited.
And spoken to a psychic who has felt the cold embrace of a ghost.
Someone has their arms around my legs right now, and I'm chilled to the bone right now.
Whether you believe that these extreme hauntings are caused by spirits wandering among us, or if they are traumatic events psychically recorded in the environment, something is happening that defies rationality. What it is exactly remains an unexplained mystery.
It was very strange.
I can't quite describe it.
This is really messed up.
And then, bang!
I was being haunted.
I was so freaked out.
Oh dear.
Celebrity Ghost Stories, tonight at 10 on Bio. True story.